Hey, how's it going, Fixologist peeps? Brad, the Fixologist here, and in today's video, we're going to look at this old iMac from 2011. This belongs to my wife, and at one point, it broke down on her. It started getting to the point where it would freeze up, and then it would restart itself, and it would just go into a loop. It would show the Apple screen, and then it would shut itself right back down. And if she was able to log on to the Apple OS and get it to boot up into Apple OS, it didn't last very long, and it would always get to the point where it would keep rebooting. So I told her, I said, it's probably a thermal issue. I said, probably it needs to be cleaned out. You know, it's just a simple matter of cleaning out the fans, and it's just a thermal issue, dissipation or something. So she took it into the Apple store, which is not what I would have done, but it's just, you know, I didn't have time to look at it at the time, so she was just like, okay, I'll just take it to the Apple store. She took it to the Apple store. They told her,
hello, IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?
They told her that it was a lost cause, that she basically had to replace it. I mean, I don't think Apple is very helpful. I don't think they have very good customer service. I don't think their products are very good. Most of the time they go with form over function. I was thinking, hey, this could be a machine that would still have some life left in it. She's already replaced it several years ago. It's been sitting around in my queue for, I don't know, like 3 years. But I decided recently just to get this thing out and start messing with it again. If you have not ever messed with one of these, it's fairly easy. You have to kind of get something. Luckily, I have fingernails because I pick guitar, so I can kind of get my fingernails up under the edge of this front panel. But this glass piece will just kind of slide out like so. There are some tabs at the bottom that slide into the bottom, and then it just comes out at the top. And then you've got screws all around the edges. Now, some of them you have to take out, and some of them you don't. And once you get this thing apart, you can get inside of it. Let me show you what all I found when I open this thing up. If you're like me, you're going to be kind of shocked. First of all, why Apple condemned the thing over something this stupid. And second, you're going to be kind of shocked as to how little Apple thinks of their customers when they don't support these older machines any longer. You know, they'll update their OS, and then it gets to the point, like I said, this thing was from 2011, but still, it's a workable machine. It has 12 gigs of RAM, it has quad-core processor, you know, so it should be decent enough to run some programs, to watch some videos, stream online, that sort of thing. You know, it's not going to do the beefiest things that, you know, today's machines are called upon to do, but it can do some things. And I'll show you what ends up being the problem with this. You're going to flip out. And also, just marvel with me at the fact that Apple does not stand behind their stuff any better than this. Even though it's an old machine, could have been used. They basically said throw it in the garbage. So Cap, I'm finally getting around to opening up your Mac, and I've taken some things out here, and look what was rattling around inside of your Mac. Loose. This is one of your 8 gig RAM sticks. Was rattling around inside of here under the motherboard. Loose. Dude. I mean, tell me that when you took this to the Apple store, they did their due diligence on this. They did not. All I did was pick this thing up and turned it sideways, and I heard rattling in here. It was a fucking RAM stick, dude. Well, I was able to actually start it up. The problem that this was having is it would start up, it would run okay for a while, but then it would basically overheat, and then the screen would freeze, and it would shut down, and then it would just basically go into a loop where it would go into the Apple screen and then shut back down and come up to the Apple screen. And if it did get past the Apple screen ever, it basically would go to a black screen. And even if you were able to go into recovery mode and then get back into the operating system, you know, and have it run okay for a little bit, it would just do the whole cycle again. It would shut itself down after a period of time after it heated up. And like I said, she took this to the Apple store, and they basically condemned it. Well, you can see the big hole that I cut in. I cut that hole in there using my Dremel tools, hoping that, I was going to cut one here for that heat sink, and I was going to cut another one up here on this end. I still may do this for this heat sink for the GPU. This is the one that does the GPU, and that one over there is the CPU heat sink. That one's not getting quite as hot. This one is what's shutting it down, I believe, the GPU. And I'll show you why I think it's been happening. Well,
I took the GPU off this board just now. I've been messing around with this thing for a little while, just because I just don't like the idea of being defeated, and I don't like the idea of, you know, some pimply-faced teenager at the Apple store condemning something and saying they can't do anything with it. I just think they're full of shit half the time, you know. And I do believe in this instance they're full of shit. And I'll show you why I think that. Well, this GPU, it sets on here like this. Okay, so this thing goes this direction. And plugs in this way. So none of this on the back is actually ever visible. You see what I'm saying? So you can't access any of this. But when I took this thing off of here, the first thing that happened is a screw fell. And it was one of the screws that's holding on the GPU. And I also noticed that these screws right here on the front side were loose. These were loose. And all of this is loose. So this GPU wasn't smashing onto, getting good coupling with, I should say, the heatsink. There's no way it could have been. Like I said, this screw right here just popped completely out, and these are all loose. I could tell just by looking at them. This one right here, look at this. This one. Look at this. Completely loose. That one fell out, like I said, when I opened this thing up. This one completely loose. Look at this. All of this is loose. This whole piece is loose. And so is this piece on the other side. All of these were loose too. So this thing was not getting good coupling. That's the reason why I was doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the board off of the heatsink, and I'm going to put some new paste on it. Smash it all back together. Tighten these way down like it's supposed to be. And get it back on here and see if this thing will actually stay running for a change. And I'll report back. I might go ahead and cut a second hole in this. Like I said, I just cut this hole in because I don't care what the thing looks like. I just want to be able to use it. So I'll report back here in a few minutes. We'll see how this goes. But like I said, first of all, I'm going to tighten these screws down on this GPU. Okay, so I've changed out all the thermal paste on this and ready to put it all back together. So I'll put it back on the heatsink and get it reinstalled and see if that helps. Let me see if I have another tube of thermal paste. If I do, I'll go ahead and take this apart as well and paste that up too. Okay, so here's the computer. It's pretty much back together. It's done. I have also, I'll turn it around here. I'll show you what I've done. I've cut this big hole back here right behind the CPU heatsink, and over here I've drilled some holes. I've drilled a few here. This is where air can come in and get to the GPU directly, and then this is the GPU heatsink up here, and I'm giving it some more holes to dissipate the heat. Also changed that thermal paste on it and tightened all the screws down. And I've been playing some videos, and everything seems to be, for the most part, okay so far. Let's see, let's play something here. Hang on. Play the last computer video I just did.
Hello, boys and girls. Brad the Fixologist here. In today's video, we're going to take this really old. This is probably from about 2000.
I've been I installed Linux on this thing too. This is
we're going to do some upgrades to it.
I think this is the latest version of Linux. I think this is Linux Mint Cinnamon, and it's running really, really good. I'm extremely impressed. It's very intuitive. It installs very quickly. It's easy to do, and if you have one of these older iMacs like this, man, and you've had the same problem with the GPU overheating, because this was a very, very common problem for this particular year. The GPUs on all of these eventually start overheating, and I think that's why they're doing it, is because those screws, after a bunch of heat cycles and cool cycles, those screws are loosening up on those GPUs, and also the thermal paste is breaking down and not making good contact, and it's overheating. I think that's what's going on, because right now, at least, I've been able to play video for a little while, with no issue. So, you know, knock on wood, hopefully this continues to not, you know, be a problem. I'm running at 1080 60p right here, and it doesn't appear to be a problem. I can do full screen on this. I mean, this is not real graphic intensive or anything like that, granted, but before I wasn't even able to play videos for any length of time at all. It would shut down just after probably about 2 minutes of video, and I've been playing videos now for the past probably 30 minutes with no issue. So I'm thinking we're probably in the clear here. If you're curious about the specs on this one, CPU is a quad core i7 2600. Let's see, there's our clock speed right there. I mean, it's no slouch. I mean, this can still do some stuff. You know, that's why I wanted to save it. I didn't want to throw it away, and I didn't want to strip it for parts if I could, you know, fix the issue, because this used to be a really great PC or Mac, I guess I should say. It used to be a really good Mac, you know, for most everything you would want to do, and you know, short of like really graphic intensive. I don't know if I could do my editing on this or not. I might, but that would be a very good test for the GPU and the new thermal paste and everything. But I can feel, you know, I mean, these things get hot. I can feel, you know, they just get really hot. And right now I've got the cover off of this. There's a glass cover that you know, magnetizes to the screen, and for now that is off. And I think I'm probably going to end up leaving it off because it gets better airflow around it with it off. Now it's going to get dirtier, and you know, you won't be able to hit the screen. You'll damage it if you're not careful, but I think it's better with it off. I might try it, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do that and report back later, but for now I'm just content with it not crashing the way that it was, and it doesn't appear that it's going to. So, but like I said, this is what we're looking at here. Let's see, here's the graphics card that keeps dying. This one here, this AMD Radeon 6970M. That's what's dying right there. But they had a rash of issues with this particular year, and this all happening. The way that these are designed, you know, Apple is really shit as far as their designs. They just really are. I mean, they look sleek and pretty and all this, and they put all this effort into, and this case is aluminum. I thought this was plastic, but I started drilling into this, and I was like, why is this so hard to cut and drill, you know? And then I was like, oh, but because it's aluminum. See this? Here's the piece that came off. It's aluminum. So that was a surprise. I just assumed that it was plastic, but nope. But these right here, I highly suggest doing something like this. And if you want to make it prettier, obviously you could make little rows and cover them in some mesh or something and make it look all pretty if you wanted, and even put a fan on the outside. I mean, that would be even better. Like right here, if I were to go back in and drill maybe 3 or 4 more holes right here and put a fan, and then I might even be able to get like a 5-volt fan and just run it off USB right here. Just plug it right directly into that USB port, and then have an extra fan right there going right onto the GPU would be a good idea. But this is just to help out, get more air directly into the CPU, and then, you know, obviously this is going to let more air in and then dissipate more heat right here, because really all you've got is this right here to let all the heat out, and it's not enough. You know, it looks sleek and all that shit, but it's just not enough, you know, leaving it covered like it was. It's just, you know, it's form over function, and it's, I mean, to be quite frank, it's a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit as far as that goes. The case is, you know, maybe the stuff that's in it's okay if you put it in a well-cooled case and everything, but this case is just really awful for heat dissipation, especially with this with that front panel on here, because, you know, like I said, all of this is open kind of on the side, so more air is able to get in and then dissipate up here you know, up high. So the airflow is a little bit better with that off, but still, it's just like you've got these fans, and they're just really kind of pussy fans. They don't do very much. There's not a lot of airflow. I mean, you could feel it coming in, but they're very quiet. I think they were just going for quiet over functional, you know? So, I mean, it's just not, which is good for one, you know, if you're sitting here doing a lot of voiceover work or something like that, or a lot of Zoom calls, I mean, you don't want the fan blaring all the time, but at the same time, you don't want it to overheat either. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's a trade-off. But anyway, so this is what we're looking at. Like I said, we can definitely play. This has been playing in the background the whole time.
Carla laughed. She was loaded up. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to play somebody else's video here. Oh, we'll get a copyright ding on that. Let's go back to my channel.
Pretty awesome, huh?
This should be in 4K.
Anyway, I'll have some tomatoes later
Yep,
in the year.
I can run this in
So,
4K. So
But yeah, not bad for something pulled
There we
off
go.
the curb. I mean, it's got little issues. It's not.
fingers crossed this can do
I think this is
4K
one of
without
those ones where
overheating.
You have to have a plug for it to mulch, because otherwise it's just going to shoot out the back.
Like I said, I do have some more ideas. If this freezes up now on 4K, I've got some more ideas that we can try.
It would come originally with a bag too, a bagger. No bagger.
I'm using
Still need to do something about this, but that's really no big
PC
deal.
keyboard and mouse there.
Filter, a little bit of a clean, and man, this can go to somebody else, and they can use it.
But I mean, you see why I don't want to throw this away. I mean, it's a working computer. If I put a little bit of, you know, work into it,
You know, forward.
which I have now, and I feel good about where it sits now. I think it's going to work for me. Just feeling how hot it's getting here. Yeah, doing the speed run in 4K should cook it up a little bit. I mean, it's getting somewhat warmer, but it's not. It doesn't feel as warm as it was. Yeah, because see, what would happen before is all of the heat would kind of just go up here, and it would settle up here on the top and just kind of bunch up and stay there. And then once the heat fills up the top of the case, it kind of, you know, the pressure of that eventually just pushes down, and the whole thing is hot, you know, after a while. It's not dissipating enough through that little tiny slit. So I think the holes helped. I think this big hole down here definitely helped on the back, because it's getting more air in down lower, so that it can you know, create convection. So yeah, if you have this problem, if you have one of these old apples like this, you might try this. You can get these things, listen, you can get these things for like $40 on eBay, because people have condemned them. You cannot update to the latest version of Mac iOS. You can't update it past a certain point, these older ones like this. But you can install Linux on it, and it's free. They just stopped supporting this machine after a certain point, which is bullshit. Total bullshit, but that's what they do. That's how they brick all their old stuff, so you have to buy new stuff. But you can pick these up. Like I said, because they stopped supporting these, you can pick this up, one of these up, for like $40 on eBay. I was seeing them at 40 to $60. I mean, there might be a little bit of shipping on top of that, but if you're looking for something that you can use, I mean, for cheap, here you go, man.
So like I said, I installed the latest version of Mint on this, Linux Mint. It's like version 23 or whatever it is up to right now. And I even have the screen back on this. I keep it on now, and there's no overheating issues at all. Not with those holes drilled in there, not with the new thermal paste and all that stuff tightened down. It's not for gaming really per se, but it can run older games. I've got some of the Linux games that are on here. They have their own version of like Minecraft, and my daughter comes and plays it. It does heat up quite a bit when she plays Minecraft, I've noticed. But anyway, you know, Linux does have a few like kind of cool games, and it's got some fractal zooms and stuff you can download with Linux. I don't know, just kind of have fun with some different stuff. This one also had a solid state drive, which helps out a lot. So I've got the operating system is installed on the solid state drive. Check them out. You can get one of these for under like $100, and a lot of the times, you know, the sellers, they've just kind of given up on them because they know they can't update to the latest iOS. So they're like, well, it's a big brick, or it's just for parts or whatever. They're selling it just for parts, so you can make something workable out of it. So I can play Netflix to my heart's content, no problem. I mean, it's really fast for web use and stuff. So yeah, man, very cool. Hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, let me know down in the comments, and for now, we'll see y'all later. Oh, also, this is the greatest thing ever. I can't believe they have this on here, but they got the original Transformers Generation 1 and also Mask. I used to love this show when I was a kid.
Spectrum's got the supervision. My mask is the mighty power that can save the day.
I can't be alone here, right? Surely. I'm not the only Gen Xer who was into Mask.
We've got him in sight. Hold on. Mask will be right back.